for nearly 2 decades.
Well, we are also hearing from the attorney of the accused Catalina Island business owner. And KCAL's Leslie Marin breaks down the allegations from that small island.
Behind the idyllic charm of Catalina Island,
Pueblo Chico, Infierno Grande,
there is a controversy brewing for some of the people who live and work here.
which literally means a small village, small town, but big hell.
And I was there for too many years.
Jose Martin Gonzalez has served tourists at some of the island's most popular restaurants for the last 20 years.
Sometimes I'm working here like 16 hours, 14 hours a day.
The single father has done it all: server, bartender, catering, while trying to achieve the American dream.
That won't happen in weekends.
Many hard-working hours, he claims, never paid off. Gonzalez alleges his former employer never paid overtime, leaving him out hundreds every paycheck for nearly 2 decades.
So we lost like 1,500, 2,000, 1,500, something like that.
For 20 years.
For 20 years.
The attorney for Gonzalez's former employer wanted to directly respond to that claim.
First of all, that individual, Mr. Gonzalez, did not work for the Two C's for 20 years. He was making $7.50 at most of the time he worked there, up to $10 an hour. The part that he's missing out on is he's flat out lying to you.
We're here to announce
The LA County District Attorney's Office believes Gonzalez isn't alone. In 2023, the DA filed felony charges against his former employers, Jack and Yume Tusi, also known as Nora Tusi. The prominent Catalina business couple owned 8 restaurants and hotels on the island. Prosecutors alleged the Tusis had employees work at multiple businesses in one day, but despite working more than 8 hours, only paid minimum wage or less.
There were egregious violations of very fundamental California labor laws, including failure to pay minimum wage, failure to pay overtime, failure to provide proper meal and rest breaks.
Attorney Matthew DeCarlis is with Betzetic, a nonprofit law firm representing Gonzalez and a dozen other people.
Wage theft and labor exploitation is extremely rampant in Los Angeles. It is the wage theft capital of the nation.
The DA believes the Tusis may have defrauded employees of more than $500,000 in overtime pay since 2008. According to court documents, prosecutors allege they also had employees obtain additional identities, including names and social security numbers, so overtime shifts would go undetected.
Normally, in my first shift, I was Jose Gonzalez with some number. The first shift. My second shift, I was Banquete, another name, another number.
We've heard from several workers that they were required to work double shifts, and often in the summer season when things are busiest here in Catalina, workers are working 5 or 6 or even 7 days in a row.
DeCarlis says employees stayed quiet for many reasons: immigration status, fear of being blacklisted by other employers on the island, and in some cases, losing their homes.
Many of the workers at the businesses also rented their apartments from them. So that was another layer of concern that workers had about speaking up.
Since filing charges, the DA claims more than 60 former employees have come forward with similar allegations against the Tusis. The Tusis attorney says the allegations are not true and claims the Tusis supplemented rent.
That number of people that rented was a handful of individuals. And those people, even after the charges were filed, were not asked to leave.
As for the allegations of multiple identities,
In some cases, they used names that were not their own on paperwork that Nora Tusi was not aware of. Many of them participated in the acts, were well aware of what was happening, were in fact properly paid the amount they should have been paid.
80-year-old Jack Tusi died weeks after his arrest.
This case is a disaster for everybody. It is a disaster for the Tusis. Mrs. Tusi lost her best friend and husband when the district attorney's office ran in and shackled him, knowing that he had to have dialysis and diabetes.
The case against Nora Tusi is moving forward in court. She has pleaded not guilty to more than 40 counts. She sold all the couple's businesses on the island, but still owns property rented by former employees.
Nora Tusi is old school. She really cared about these people She paid for many of their trips and vacations. She paid for their bereavement leave. All of these things that she didn't have to do.
Back on Catalina, Gonzalez still lives and works on the island, oftentimes at 2 different restaurants in one day. And now he says he's making overtime pay. He has since filed a class action lawsuit against Nora Tusi.
I don't thinking about how much money I lost with them, but I don't know. Whatever money that's okay about. That's not in my mind. I want some money. I'm looking for money. No.
Leslie Marin, KCAL News.
Now, if Tusi is convicted criminally, employees would get back wages. The class action lawsuit could award the victims additional compensation. And as for Nora Tusi, her attorney says he plans to file a motion to dismiss all charges against her next month.
All right, turning now to weather.